Hello, beautiful friends. I hope everyone's feeling super excited on this cosmic day. I am super excited to be here with you. I spent today meditating on the plane flying to Texas. And so I always recommend meditating on the plane. Really, it's amazing. And so, have your phone, have all the meditations from Oren, and just go for it. And so the flight was long enough for me to actually meditate the entire 7 divine wills, so just like perfect timing. So it was amazing. And so I went through all 7 of them at once. And oh my goodness, I think, this world is ready for us now as we're going to be embodying these 7 divine wills. And then when I was listening to the second one and I was just melting, I forgot because last time when I did this, I did it, every single day, many years ago. And then I felt like I completed this. But now that we are returning to this, it's amazing. It's like a whole new revelation. And, like when you go, deeper and deeper, higher and higher, and sometimes you go back to something you did 10 years ago, you don't even recognize it because it makes so much more sense. And so now to me, it makes so much more sense. And when I was embodying the second will, I thought, whoa, how is this even possible? Is it your birthday, Isabel, today? 28th of November? Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Isabel. Thank you. And thank you for all that you do. All the beautiful anchoring of the rainbow. It's amazing. So our birthdays, obviously, they are amazing portals. So we choose when we come into this world. It's pretty incredible. So let us celebrate those birthdays. So today is a perfect day. You're going to love this, Isabel, because the second will, the will to unify. Oh my goodness, don't we all want to be unified? And so I just want to say this will be so delightful. This will just make the mystic within you so excited. So beautiful. So what is this all about? We always have to look at the big picture. It really is about 2 things only: the whole world, the whole universe, the whole cosmos. And that's just very simple, but it is really about the expansion of love. It is really how creation expands. Creation does not expand through anything else but love. And so, I remember a lot of different realities, and I remember how love expands creation. And it is only through love that you can expand this amazing cosmos. And so when we have a world where love is really not the status quo for so many, then that world is usually not going and moving in the right direction. But eventually, actually, everything in creation is moved into the right direction. It can happen that, for example, a planet will not be moving in the right direction at all forever, for a really long time, as Patricia calls it, eons and eons. And so maybe there will have to be some chaos. Maybe there will have to be disturbances, what we would call unpleasantness. But eventually, even that will actually lead to love. Love is the only destination. There is no other destination. This is bigger. I want to say it's bigger than life, but actually life and love are exactly the same. When Divine Mother first started coming to me and she was teaching me every single day, all night, it was incredible because it was like, the ultimate mystery school. Divine Mother, obviously, she is the mother of creation. And so it's very kind of, you could say, even it's very complex because she creates the cosmos. So when she teaches you, you have to understand things like your own cells, but then you also have to understand things like cosmos and all the universes. So she gives it all to you. And I say, yes, it is very complex, but at the same time, it's all about love. And so I say we could study so many different things. We could be learning all this and that. But if it doesn't lead to love, then it is not leading really to the ultimate destiny. So every path must be a path of love. And whatever that is for you, it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So, for example, and I don't really know Rumi, but I think we all heard some beautiful, ecstatic poems by Rumi. And the story goes that Rumi got really drunk every day, but he used his drunkenness. And again, who knows if that is really true, but he used his drunkenness that he speaks about so often, the wine of the mystics. And he wrote the most beautiful poems celebrating the divine. And every poem is just so exquisite, Even Yogananda, he wrote a book, I think, The Wine of the Mystics. So anyway, it doesn't matter which path we take, as long as that path is a path of love for the divine. And how we celebrate the divine, whether it is through ceremony outside, greeting the sun, breathing, yoga, and I always say Qigong and Tai Chi because I really love those movements. Not that we learn them, but actually they are within us. I always believe, things specifically like Qigong, it didn't come from some teacher, it came from the mother herself. She wanted her children to be in the flow. And so, miraculous healing can take place when we return to the flow. So that's why now we do a lot of different practices. But if it's not a practice of love, we might find something else that actually we would love. So again, whatever it is for you that you love, I hope you will love today's transmission with Oren. This transmission is just so exquisite. They all are actually, so all 7 steps. So if you like extreme spirituality, you can play all 7 at once and go into deep meditation. It is possible. And then just like really absorb them all at once. And I was thinking while I was, up in the sky on the plane, I thought, man, like this is so simple. Just go to the Big Dipper and download all of them at once, every morning, every evening, and maybe even place them into your energy field and have them all emanate at you. So why are stars powerful? So, for example, our beautiful sun, right? Is so powerful that actually it keeps us physically alive, but also spiritually going, and it keeps giving us these codes of consciousness of evolution. So that is great love. The emanation of the sun is the emanation of source itself, because source always is stepped down. As I mentioned before, when I first met Source in 2015, it was an amazing, like visual, absolutely tangible, physical encounter. I would describe it as, when you go out of body, then of course, then you can visit all these amazing destinations and have incredible knowledge given to you. Because when you are, for example, out of body, you are in your super consciousness very often. Not for all people. Some people, for some reason, go more into like just the astral body, and then they just move through the buildings and they kind of stay here on this planet. But for me, going to these places is really going in a what I would call kind of a light body, prana body, bliss body. And so Source taught me so much that day. And one of the really beautiful things that I learned from Source is that we all actually are stars in creation, and that we actually all shine. And very few decided not to shine at all, but just very, very, very few. That's amazing. When you think of trillions, zillions beings that exist within a creation, then they all actually prefer to shine. That's amazing. Even if it's just a little bit, it's good enough, because where there is an openness to light, there is also the possibility of increasing that light. And so you and me are those stars. And, one day we also become suns. And I think it's going to happen soon for all of us. One day the earth will become a sun. And so sun is a very, very, very evolved being, really. And that being has such amazing consciousness. It creates a world within which so many others can reside energetically, reside also physically and non-physically. And so as you and me are stars, the most beautiful path that we can take, and I really think that's the only path, is the path of love. But path of love means always more love. We don't get stagnant even in our love. We push the limits. We make the heart bigger, 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 bigger. And we are speaking about the energetic heart. And what happens, I know I always speak about the same thing, but I want to say this is the blueprint. This is the fundamental building, design of creation. When we open up to more love, we can take in more light. And then when we take in more light, we can give more light to others, because everything is passed on. It's amazing. It's all about giving, as you know. And so, for example, source is too intense for someone who is, not really yet experienced with their own light. So let's say, it's a little star. A little star cannot take the whole sun in. And so the source will emanate it to those who already are attuned to the greatness, the intensity. So we can call them the great ones. And then the great ones, again, they don't want to just direct everything at, one little person who really is not ready yet, because what would be the use of it? It would just blow their fuses. Fuses, is that a word? Just blow them up. We don't want to blow up anyone. When it's too much energy, it's not useful. It has to be perfect amount, not too little, not too much, just perfect amount, not only for the non-physical structure that we are, but also for our nervous system, which needs to be attuned to things. And so then the great ones step it down to those beings who can really handle it. And then those beings step it down to those, who are ready. And so we always want to be given, and it's actually automatic, to those who are ready. And so you are ready. You are ready to receive this amazing, exquisite light from our second star of the Big Dipper. Since all beings are stars, it's really our design. So if you look at all of us through your third eye, you only will see stars. And yes, we seem to be in a world, we seem to be in a body, but actually it is the heart that shines. And so that is the only thing that then is the truth of us, which is the light, which is the love. Thank you. And so, so we are the stars. And that means you are a being that is a star. I am a being that is a star. Everyone is a being that is a star. And then, like I say, very, very few, which actually it blows my mind, because you would think there would be many, but very few decided not to shine at all. So maybe we can call them the black dwarfs, but even they will one day shine. Nothing is lost forever, I believe, from what I've seen. There's always this infinite actually possibility of one day opening up to light again. So Source, actually, I always say the words that Source used was that it was silly for someone to actually disconnect from this amazing game of light. And so I say, yes, it is silly, because it only is really fun, and it is really the most logical thing to do, is to go with it, to go for more, and to really have fun with this. So we are opening up. And so these 7 stars of the Big Dipper are also beings, and they are called the Lords of 7 rays. So yesterday we worked with the first ray, and today we're going to be working with the second ray. So we are fulfilling our purpose. Might some be shining it in a distorted way? Oh, okay. Like people call it false light. No. At this level, it is impossible actually to fool anything and anyone. It is only in the appearance. So the true essence is visible. And actually, I talked about the Antichrist guy. So they can take on the beautiful form, really very appealing physically, but the light, you cannot actually fake it, which is wonderful. Another thing that cannot be faked is the smell. And so beings who are highly evolved, they also smell really beautiful, like flowers. And I think that's why Mother Nature does it. And I actually think that's why humans invented perfume, to smell beautiful when they actually are not really beautiful when it comes to the true essence. So our true essence actually has also, I see. Does anyone have the Divine Will series all as one unit? All as one unit. You mean like, Bob, do you mean more than what we're doing here? Like, I know that there are many Divine Will courses. So right now we're working with this one. This one is $89 for the 12 journeys. So, and when you have a account with Oranandaben, then that account is like forever. And so the entire set of these journeys, all of these, so you can download it actually from Oranandaben as one set. So I like how they create the account and it doesn't expire and you can download it millions of times, you know, when you're switching computers, and because there are some online businesses also where suddenly you cannot download things anymore. So this one is great. I love it. Yes. And it's great to have it on the phone, right? Because in the middle of the night, let's say you cannot sleep, so you can play. And the picture of me here, I actually didn't change it. It's a very old picture, but somehow Zoom keeps insisting and switching back to this. So, all right. Haridas Kaur, you are here too, my sweetheart. Wonderful. So again, imagine the possibility. Imagine the possibility when you start using your imagination, which is the mind of the magician. When we move beyond the thinking mind, which is also the mind that just labels all the stuff and recycles nonsense. I'm not a big fan of the mind that humans have, including myself, because that mind can be super annoying at times, and it takes lifetime to, you know, transform the mind through meditation. But I also have experienced absolutely incredible transformation through the work that we do here. You will wake up one day and your mind will no longer be doing what it used to do. It will just take you to beautiful places. And so that's where we're going. We're going into a beautiful place every day. So I recommend listening to Oren as much as you can. So I learned that I can listen to Oren while I'm cooking. I can listen to Oren while I'm cleaning. I can also listen to Oren with my eyes open while I'm driving. And I really love it because then the mind is constantly engaged with divinity. And there's no room for anything else but divinity. And so the transformation happens. So what we are doing, as you know, we are building structures that are actually visible in our light body and our subtle bodies. We are creating pathways, we are creating connections, we are creating a relationship. And so, relationship, we are creating the relationship with the Pleiades. And I like this drawing that the Taoists make. You see, for the Taoists, the Big Dipper opens the gateway to heaven, and behind that gateway is Polaris. So the Earth is awakening. You saw the volcano in Hawaii, I guess, that erupted after like 40 years. Last time it happened, it was in 1984. So the Earth is definitely awakening. There was a lot of elements today. So many elements. California was so windy for no reason, Northern California. So definitely we know the Earth must really wake up, because that's we all wake up when she wakes up. But let's go back to the magic that we are doing here. If you want to play with this, I recommend having a practice. If it gives you joy, it gives me great joy to connect to these sources and to every day wake up in the morning and start putting stuff in my light body and my subtle body, and then feeling the bliss that comes from this, and also the response, because of course then Mother Nature speaks to you more clearly. And so connecting to the earth, connecting with your spinal cord, connecting with your amazing crown, and then connecting to the Big Dipper, connecting to the Pleiades, connecting to our North Star. There is so much we can connect to, but we want to be connecting to the right sources. So for example, when Divine Mother started to initiate me, she also showed me sources within cosmos that do not emanate what we would want to be connecting to. For example, the energy of Mars. And this has nothing to do with astrology, actually. But she showed me that there was a civilization on Mars that actually went into deep unconsciousness and was destroyed. And many of the beings who lived on Mars came to planet Earth, which I find very interesting. So, for example, I would not be connecting to a fallen civilization of Mars. Then she showed me that there are sources within this cosmos also that have been kind of hijacked by what I would call, really, I cannot explain it, but this is what she showed me, by some kind of, let's call it artificial intelligence instead of natural intelligence. And that some of actually cosmic sources are now in possession of these artificial programs, and they also do not send positive programs into planet Earth. So this is very strange things, but I want to say that's why we are very selective, and we want to select the best of the best. And so we are selecting Polaris. Polaris for us right now seems to be almost, not only is it our North Star, but also it is deeply connected to the galactic core at the moment. And so that's why we are actually connecting to that. The tilt was definitely caused by the fall, because I've seen it, and the Earth will actually repair her alignment. So things will change. So we are connecting to the Pleiades. So if you want to be building these structures, and yeah, it's really interesting. So we are connecting to the triangle of the Pleiades. We put Pleiades above the head. We put Sirius next to the Pleiades to create a triangle also with the Great Bear. And then we specifically work with the constellation of the Big Dipper within the constellation of the Great Bear. And then a really powerful practice, for example, for Taoism, again, you know, the school of Divine Mother, really, they absolutely find this is the most powerful connection we can create right now, and that is the connection with Polaris. Polaris, again, this is a real photo of the sky, our North Star. And then we are working with light. Now, why do we work with light? Yogananda taught us. So for those of you who participated, I highly recommend, as often as you can, to follow those steps that Yogananda gave humanity. And this is the shortcut for this, you know, civilization, because when he was here and he was teaching actually during deep, deep, deep unconsciousness. Very few people were awakening. It was really hard to awaken because the density, things changed, as you know, not only in 1987, but now it's like, it's a whole new world. And that's why we can get shortcuts. So to go through the shortcut once again, in all the teachings that we share here, all the things we do, you will find the same steps. Number one, we always want to be clean. We purify. Yogananda gave us purification by the living fire of God. I really like that one. Throwing the humanness into the fire of God and letting it burn. This is true alchemy. We are transforming layers by layers. The next step is adding light to our being. We did that in the angelic queendom. And so here, as we work with the stars, we are contacting the consciousness of a highly evolved being. And of course, these beings hear you. And so using spoken language, intention, imagination, and visualization is the key. And I love the magic wand. I actually have it here, so I brought it with me to Texas. So let us use the magic wand too. So we pull down the light of Polaris, and through the top of your head, you bring this amazing sphere of violet light into your head. You bring down all the solar light, not only from our physical sun, but we work with all the non-physical suns as well, the suns beyond the suns. And then finally, we bring the white light of Venus. And this is just so delightful to bring Venetian, you know, heaven, really heavenly realms into planet Earth. So I have traveled out of my body so much in this lifetime. And I always say, the moment you leave your body, you actually are then in your energy body. And your energy body is whatever you build in this lifetime. It really does matter what we do. It really does determine where we go. It does determine how high we can go. It really does matter. So with the abdominal energy, so within us are mystical, actually, energies already in our physical body, and we are energizing them. We are uncovering them. For example, the beings that I work with, they work with the energy of cauldron. And if you are a Taoist and you study Taoism, you understand that they also work with cauldrons. They say, imagine them, visualize them, but actually they are within us. At a certain point of our evolution, we activate incredible structures within us that seem surreal. And so that's why we are activating with this energy. All right, let's do it. So this is the really beautiful, amazing intention for us, is to connect with the will to unify and to really heal the heart fully and completely, so that we can be in our sacred heart, the heart that is fearless, the heart that never had a wound, the heart that is so connected to our divine source, to Divine Mother. And it is only through love that we really fulfill our purpose. And so let us love. This was so exquisite, so absolutely transformational. I always want to say, I make a promise to you, and I don't do that lightly, because I have done all these journeys myself, and I worked with every single one of them intensely, not just once, but very, very intensely. Then I know what this leads to. This leads to complete liberation. It completely ends that little human. And you know, the steps, I just want to once again mention the steps that Yogananda taught us. First, we liberate. It means we cleanse the humanness. You know, we throw away the cloak of humanness. Then we go into the light. We work with the angelic queendom until we are so perfect energetically that we can actually contact our soul. You know, people don't understand often the fact that we do need to contact our own soul, because our own soul has its own life, which is hard to believe, on the soul plane. And the soul is dreaming beautiful dreams, but many beautiful dreams. And you are one of those dreams. And so after that, it really, you know, in human words, it takes time to really get to know our own soul. And then we take it to the next level. We go into the spirit body. And I don't know how long it took me to get to know my spirit, but I had to meditate with Yogananda every single day. And just, I would say, 2 years exploring spirit in human words. And then after you explore spirit, then there is the big breakthrough. And to me, that is when we have contact with divine source itself. And so once again, our personality self is very small, as you can imagine. Whether it is useful or useless, I don't know so much, but I like being in the soul and the spirit body so much more. And so when we go beyond the personality self, it does have to dissolve, right? You know, it's holding us back, actually. It's not just the ego that people call it, but there is a lot. It's the stories, it's the histories, it's the memories and all of it. It's also the ideas and then the conclusions that we made and so on and so on. You know, we might be very inaccurate, actually. That is the personality self, such a composition of a lot of stuff. And so when you imagine your personality self, it's like a little paddle, small pond. I pronounce that better. And then you take the pond and you put it into a sea. The sea is your soul. So that's a lot to explore, a sea. You go from a small body of water to a bigger body of water. But even the sea, after you've explored it, your soul actually has a bigger body, and that is the ocean of spirit. And even the ocean of spirit is not the end of this adventure. It just keeps going. And once we have the breakthrough and we merge with actually our divine source, that's where the party really begins. And so that's why it's so important to do this work, actually. You know, for example, just one more thing is, you know, we will eventually be leaving this body, right? Soon or later, one day. And even though we might be taking an energetic imprint of this body with us, like our prana body, we want to be in the best energetic shape possible. That's why, for example, we have the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and that is teaching people how to be in the best possible shape at the moment of transition. Now, this is pretty amazing. So when I was 13, I was so obsessed with the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and I just wanted to do every single step from it. So, and I always say, little did I know that actually it is a manual for near-death experience. So watch out. And so I was a teenager, you know, sitting in my bed at night, and I was just chanting and following the steps, and suddenly I completely disappeared. This tornado came, that's what I can describe it. The tornado came through the top of my head, went to the base of my spine and pulled me out, but it completely disconnected me from the body. I was totally the being that we become when we die. So I call it near-death experience because there was no relationship with the body. Whereas when you actually have out-of-body experiences, you are always connected to your physical body. You don't disconnect at all. So that was the difference. And so I got to see the amazingness, the energy that we are, the vastness that we are, this huge being that somehow can fit in the human body. It's pretty incredible. How can we even fit in the physical body is puzzling. It's really puzzling. And so that's why we want to be the best of the best of the best. And it's never too late. Even if we have one day to live, it's never too late. Never too late. Because guess what? It is all about love. If today you decide to love life so much, that's it. It opens you up, and life just says, I want to bless you. I want to come inside you, really, through the heart, through the head also. There's two places where this love comes. It comes through the top of the head into the crown, and it also comes through the heart. So it can be instant. Yogananda said, one breath, take that one breath and make it happen. So we want to be taking that one breath. So as magicians, once again, we continue our journey. I posted the times on the website. It's going to be back to, you know, the typical 11 a.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Pacific. And then on Friday, it will be different because I'll be traveling again. But tomorrow we keep on with our journey across the Big Dipper. And even if you miss some, it doesn't matter. All you have to do either is to get the album from Oren and Daben and do it yourself, or also connect with the Big Dipper, download the light. These beings are listening to us. I always talk to them. I say, are you listening to us? Are you working through everyone on these calls? Are you succeeding through everyone? And the answer is always, of course, absolutely. So thank you so much for being here. Have a blessed day, blessed evening. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow and continuing our hopping across the Big Dipper to the third pool of light. Thank you.